guys, this is the first episode of the Apex Mountain Bike podcast presented by RockShock. And we got Missy Ross here who raced last year for the 50 to 55. I think it's the 55 category. I don't know if it goes up to 59. But anyway, she was a part of the 50 plus category for the women. And I also have notes that you signed up for the endurance camp too, correct?
I did. We're going to do
Cool.
that in the beginning of June.
Sweet, sweet. So yeah, so you're coming back. You're coming back, but let's dive into a little bit about you. I want to get to know you as a person, how you found a bike. I mean, it's always inspiring to me knowing athletes because like I'm 28 years old and you're probably like, oh, what a baby. But trust me, I get told I'm old from Team USA and all these other crazy things. So but I want to be just as healthy and just as active as you guys one day. So tell me how you find yourself on a bike. Like, have you always been riding, or how do you?
No, I actually started out as a marathon runner, and then I was dabbling into doing some ultras, some
Okay,
50 miles and some 30Ks. And then my coach at that time, I was having a lot of issues and having to go to a physical therapist. And he said, you got to stop running this much. You've got to cross train. And this
okay,
was when I was about 42. So it wasn't like this was in my, young when I was in my 30s.
yeah,
So he said, why don't you try, cycling? So I bought a road bike and I wanted to be cool. So I bought the clips,
yep,
but
yep.
I didn't know how to clip out. So what I would do is just make right turns
So you
all
were
around my house
there. You
so
go.
that I would never have to clip out.
There
So
you go.
finally I was like, this is ridiculous. I've got to, progress a little bit more than just right turns.
Yeah,
So I did a camp for women. And then at that time, CTS had like a gym membership down at the Roundhouse.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I joined that and we used to do Saturday rides, road rides. And then everybody's like, mountain biking is way more fun than road biking. So I was like, I love the group. The coaches were awesome. So I bought a used mountain bike and I hated it. Every night before I went on the rides on Saturday, I couldn't sleep. My stomach hurt. My husband was like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, well, they keep saying it's fun. And
They keep saying it's fun. Yeah,
it's
everybody
fun.
else says it's fun, so we're
Right.
okay here.
And I'm super competitive. Obviously, I've been competing running and now mountain biking for a while. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out the secret. So I broke my finger. I've broken
Okay.
two fingers.
Oh man.
I had just rash from gravel. I
Yeah.
mean, you should see my legs. But I hung in there. I did some camps. I sought out people that I trusted. And over the time, just practice, I got to where I am now.
No, that's super impressive. So you're essentially saying like, even when the door tried to shut on you, you just kind of kept giving it another shot, giving it another shot. It's literally like you fall off the horse, get back up kind of
That is
situation.
exactly it with mountain
Yeah.
biking. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think a lot of women fear, what I mean, I probably didn't learn the best way because the group was advanced that I went with. So I
Yeah.
kind of got thrown into some harder trails. Like I broke my finger on Stephanie's trail.
Okay.
Um,
Which is a
but
trail in Colorado Springs, by the way.
Right. But, once I started understanding body positioning on the bike and what to do, then it just got easier for me. But I don't think people, especially, should go out when they're first mountain biking and then maybe do the shoots or,
Yeah, yeah.
until they're more comfortable. But I didn't know at that time.
Yeah, no, and I think what I used to tell a lot of athletes, as a coach, and is there's only one way to learn, and that's usually just doing it and trying to
Yeah.
figure it out within reason, guys. Okay, so don't say
I,
that John told me to just do it. But yeah, I feel like there's a first time for everything, and there's a starting place for everything, and so I think that kind of dives us into the next piece where it's like why the apex? Like, why were you like, because I mean, I think so many people chalk this race up to be highly difficult. And we're from Colorado Springs, so we kind of know those trails are pretty difficult. Like, it's not very easy to just shoot up Rampart or it's not very easy to go into Palmer Park and just go for a ripping time trial, right? And so
Right.
we know how difficult that is. But what motivated you to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to give this a crack and honestly, whatever happens happens, but let's go race. Let's go have fun."
Well, like I told you before, I mean, you have to understand my background is endurance running.
Yeah.
So I'm really good at just going one speed.
Yeah.
I decided on my 50th birthday I was going to go big, and I did the Pisgah stage race, which is a 5-day stage race in North Carolina.
Yeah, yeah.
And after that, I just got hooked on stage racing, because if you do stage racing, you get to see an area and you get to see each day a different part of that area. And it turns into almost like a bike vacation. Now, unlike the pros, I start in the back of the
Yeah,
pack.
yeah. Okay.
And those people back there tend to be the ones that are just out to like have the scenery and get the feel of the race. And so when you meet people, it's fun. You get their backgrounds, you get to tell them about the area. I don't know, you learn a lot because you have more time to talk, I think, and just support each other every day. So I did Pisgah and I did Moab. I did the G3, which was in Winter Park.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was so excited to do the Apex because it's so nice to sleep in my own bed
Yeah.
and have my own food and know exactly where I'm going every day. Because, like I told Daniel Matheny, he does the course directing, and I
Yeah, yeah.
talked about the courses. When you're by yourself and you're coming to a strange city or place, and you have to coordinate every day where to find the trails, it's just nice peace of mind just to know where you are and you've ridden the trails.
For sure, and especially for mountain biking, it kind of gives a good peace of
Yes.
mind, especially in Colorado. We have, and for anybody that hasn't done the Apex yet or hasn't ridden any trails in Colorado Springs, we have what we like to call kitty litter or um, pebble dirt. It's this like kind of sandy but thicker dirt, more or less that you kind of have to learn how to ride, and
You
it's
do. And there's a lot of loose corners. In fact, this guy I was talking to on the first day of the Apex after we did Palmer Park, I looked at his back tire and I was like, you might want to put a Meteor tire on that back tire for,
yeah,
Captain Jack's and Jones Park. And he looked at me really strange, like I wasn't trying to add weight to his bike
yeah, yeah,
but and then afterwards he was like, he found me and he's like, oh, thank you. That was a great idea.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, if you have Missy coming up to you saying, "Hey, you should probably put a Meteor tire on," it's coming from experience. She's not just trying to beat up on you guys, I promise. But yeah, so that being said, with Jax and all these other things, what's probably your number one memory from 2021, like from doing the Apex? I mean, it could be a good memory, it could be a bad memory, but like
Can
what a
I do
funny
both?
memory. Yeah,
A
yeah, let's
good
do both.
and bad
Good and
memory?
bad. Yeah, yeah.
Let's start with the good. I love that Jones Park day.
Okay.
It's just super fun. I'm not a singles or single track type of a purist. I don't mind climbing on Jeep Road. That doesn't bother me. I love the reward though, and I love just right before you get to Buckhorn, all that nice swoopy
Yeah, that's a lot
fun.
of fun.
That's great. What was hard for me this last year was the bottom on the Mount Herman day was that stupid trail. And what was funny about that is I thought everybody didn't like it. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden I started listening to all these, people saying, especially the pros, oh, that was great. That was so
Yeah.
much fun. I almost cried. I came out of Limbaugh Canyon and I
Yeah.
started down across the road. I had to get off my bike so much. I was so frustrated because I
Yeah.
was tired. And I don't know about anybody else. When I get really tired, I get sloppy. And I just didn't want to hurt myself when I knew I still had, the rest of the days to go.
That's valid,
So
or just in general, just probably didn't want to get hurt. That's a
I just didn't, and I don't like banging up my bike. That's
Yeah,
not my
yeah.
favorite thing either.
But do you know what's
So
funny about this whole thing so far is when you said, "Hey, I just didn't want to hurt myself because I still had more to do," and then it was like, "And I didn't want to damage my bike." It wasn't like, "And I just didn't want to be in pain." Ideally,
right.
right? Okay.
Right. No, I mean
So
that's all part of it. And I love
yeah,
Palmer Park. I mean, it's not that I don't love technical. That was just a little bit challenging when I was already tired. But
yeah,
other than that, I mean, I love it all. I mean, I just love riding my bike. So
for
if I
sure.
have any excuse to be able to ride my bike a long time, meet people, and finish something and feel good about my effort, then I think it's a perfect day.
Okay, and so why did you sign up for the 2022 camp?
Well, I figure, I keep telling my husband every year, as I'm getting older, I'm just wondering how much more I have in me with the stage race. I mean, I have to tell you, I came in last of the women this year, and it's the first year in any race I've ever come in last.
Okay.
So I did have to take a moment and say, either, I didn't, there's a lot of factors that go into that, and that's a whole different podcast. But I was like, I just got to keep doing this
Yeah.
until I don't want to do it anymore. I did sign up for the Breck Epic to do as a little bit of a teaser. I'm just doing 3 days because I'm a teacher, and then we report that same week.
Yeah.
So I asked my principal, I said, I can't do the whole 6 days, but can I do 3? And she's like, you bet.
Yeah.
So I just think I'm going to keep going, John, until I can't
No.
go anymore.
No, and I think but I don't think that's a bad thing, and I kind of want to touch
No.
on you being last. And I
Yeah.
like I know that like we're competitive. We're all athletes.
Hmm.
Like I don't care how old you are, I don't care how good you are. You can call yourself a pro, whatever. Like everybody that starts at that line is an athlete, even if they're just there to ride. Um, do you feel like you gave it your best effort?
I did. I did give it my best effort. I even did better on the last day than I did
Yeah.
last year. And that was from fear, because I don't know because last year when I did it, the pros were, I'm one of the later ones coming down. Jackson, the pros were coming down at the exact same time I was coming down.
Oh
And
man.
it's so funny in my mind. They're so good and they have such good vision that they saw me way ahead of time to give me notice. But I kept thinking, gosh, somebody's going to either A, take me out, or B, I'm going to ruin their race. How would you like to
Yeah.
be like the top 5, come across this lady and just hammer into her?
You never want to
And
be
then,
that. Well, you never want to
yeah,
be the lady that gets hammered into either, because then
exactly.
much less the
But
guy who hammers into the lady, so or girl for that
right.
matter, you know. Um,
Maybe hammering's not the right word, but
yeah,
anyway, so I don't know. I did give it my best effort, and I was proud of myself always for at least finishing.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that's like a big step, and I think that's something that, and that's the reason why I brought it back up, because we have people that are going to listen to this podcast. I think that don't want to come to this race because of the stigma that's put around it, right? This is, I mean, it's a pretty legit stage race. Like they're hard
Mhm.
days, and um, yeah, I think we as athletes we have a bit of pride, right? And so it's funny.
We do.
It's funny because you go, man, I was a bit bummed, and it's like, well, why were you bummed, Missy? And it's well, I got last, but you did better than you did the year before.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so to me that's a win. Like you can't control, who showed up that day
That's
or
exactly right.
how it was laid out, right? But like
Right.
what you can control is who you are as an athlete
Right.
and the
And you
effort
can
that you put
control
in.
your experience, John. I mean, you
Exactly.
can be bummed about that and get up the next day, or you can get up and say, I'm going to ride my bike. It's a beautiful day. I'm in Colorado Springs. And
Exactly.
that's the way I just look at it.
All right. Well, I got two more questions for you.
Sure.
My next question is, what's one tidbit of advice that you would give somebody who, male, female, anybody that is, coming to Apex for the first time and is just kind of questioning it, like, why should I come to Apex? Like, why would you? How would you recommend coming to Apex to somebody?
Well, that is a loaded question.
And that's
I
okay. Like, you can give me a loaded answer.
So I think if anybody is really serious about stage racing and racing in general, I have a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a nice first step to take to lay out a plan for training. I think if you're well trained, you'll have a better experience when you're doing it. And I'm really a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
I think they coming to the Apex this year, there's going to be some different days, and I think you're just going to get such a great taste of Colorado Springs. We are so lucky to live here and ride
For
here.
sure.
We've got Palmer Park. We may be doing the Air Force Academy. We've got the whole canyon.
Yeah.
And that is such a nice little taste of the trails around here that I just don't think you could go wrong coming and staying here. Colorado Springs is a great place to bring your family. You can camp down at Cheyenne Mountain State Park if you want to. I mean, we just have a lot to offer here.
Yeah, and then my next question, you being a Colorado Springs native, you definitely have eaten out.
I have
What
now.
what's your food of choice? What's your
Okay,
favorite restaurant
so
in the Springs and
these
why?
days, all right, Cerebus just changed their menu.
Okay.
So I love eating there because their beer is just amazing as well. So you get the best of both
Best
in
of both
one
worlds,
place.
yeah.
And then if you
Uh,
go across the street, I like 503 W2.
yeah. 503
Um,
West is really good.
West, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they have great food.
Yeah.
And if you want to just, I don't know why you would have this much money to splurge on. I would go to the Famous. I like to eat at the Famous. That's fun.
I don't think
Uh,
I've been there. Yeah, where's that located?
that's down on Tejon.
Okay. Oh, nope, I've been there. Yep, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Yep, 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 yep.
So those probably are my three favorite places to go. Definitely Cerberus and 503 West.
No, that's perfect. Missy, I appreciate it so much. And guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you go check out the Pikes Peak Apex. We'll
Mhm.
put down the link in the description below. All you have to do is go check that out and get signed up for the 2022 race, as well as we will put some more information to the maps and all that other kind of cool stuff. But yeah, if you have any questions, be sure to hit us up down in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.